Hello and welcome to the Holy Hour Podcast, the All Cure bi-weekly podcast. We are doing our second mystery caller episode. Exciting night here. Joined by Donald and Chaz. How's it going, fellas?
All right. What are we doing this episode?
Oh, we're doing mystery caller. I just posted it to Instagram. I said, let's have some awkward cure talk, y'all. And then I said, direct message me when you want to be part of this show. So now we just wait. And first come, first serve, we said. So sorry to all our cure buddies out there. I tried to reassure them that it wasn't actually live and we were just recording this so they don't think it's live in front of a studio audience or anything. But it's also with the idea of any topic you want. Hopefully they get that in the message. So we're more than happy to throw some topics at you or just hear your cure origin tale. But if they want to come
cure news,
if they want to be come barreling in with cure updates and relevant news, or they just want to talk about the glory days of a couple more festival shows that are coming up, maybe somebody wants to just relive the magic again of the old festival shows, and that would be fine. But like I said, we don't know how many people we'll get, so we might be talking to one person the whole time, or we might try to just crank them in if we get a ton of these rolling. So we'll just have to leave it in the hands of social media gods. But
God.
yeah. So we got one. Plastic passion, plastic fashion. All right, guys, you still there? Chaz, Donald?
Hey, guys.
Yeah, this is Sophia.
I'm giggling.
Yeah.
I'm giggling. I'm sorry. What's up?
It's dangerous leaving these guys alone for a minute here. So I was like, I got to get back to them.
Just how high are you guys right now?
I don't do drugs, so we're good.
Only Jeff?
I'm
on
on
that
balls. We're talking about
Donald, always high. I've got a very modest glass of wine sitting here next to me, so I think.
And I have a Mountain Dew, so
There you go. So every level
I'm
of
doing push-ups.
tweakiness. Yeah.
I'm doing bong hits and push-ups. What are you up to?
So yeah, how are you doing tonight, Sophia?
I'm good. I saw that 17 seconds. What is your name?
I'm Chaz.
Chaz, I buy all your shirts, so thank you so
Thank you. I appreciate
Awesome.
it. I'm sitting at the computer right now working on a hoodie, so I appreciate it.
Ooh. Nose to the grindstone.
Yeah, a little preview, sneak peek.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I know nobody wants it, but I want a top shirt.
Oh,
Yeah.
my fave.
But I am very excited for the. What are you doing now? The
I just did the
Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah, we were talking about the
T-shirt.
Cheesecake Factory, but
Whoa.
Oh, excellent.
Little crossover.
I've been waiting for that mashup for quite a long time.
yeah, it's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be Lowell sitting in the corner eating like
Oh God.
pasta in one hand and that giant cherry cheesecake in the other.
Were
God.
any of you guys at the 1997 Cure convention in LA?
No.
No. Somebody asked me about Cure Convention though the other day.
97?
Yeah.
97. Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Like the year?
Shut up.
We just skipped over that one.
I feel so incredibly. I graduated in 96, so actually that was
Cool.
a pretty good year after for me.
Hell
But
Yeah.
Lowell showed up.
Oh,
What?
wow.
And
Oh, really?
so the special guests, they had, Dressed Like Robert Smith hour. They had, I don't know, other stuff. I got my first credit card just to use at the convention.
Nice.
So now my credit is fucked. But
Yeah.
anyway.
Sorry.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good company.
So
Wait.
the special guest was Lowell, and you could hear like half the crowd was like, "Yeah, Lowell." Half the crowd was boo, fuck this. And I was just standing there like, wait, 97, like when did the whole suing happen?
Yeah, that was totally around
Yeah.
then. 90, yeah, it was right before it, because 96 was Wild Mood
Wasn't it
Swings.
like 92 though?
Well, it started then, and then it went on for like all the years right before Wild Mood Swings came out in like 96. So it must have been done by 96. But
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, still pretty fresh. Definitely not. I'm so surprised that it would. Yeah, so
it was very
awkward.
too close for comfort for me, and I like did not. I'm. Am I allowed to say whatever I want here? I'm not a Lowell fan.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I've never been a Lowell fan from like I don't know, questionable. I just didn't want to read it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just didn't want to read it. Did you guys read it?
I did.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's
Yes, no.
Yes. It was tough because. Sorry, I was gonna say it was just like because especially, and I think we might fall in the same kind of. I graduated like high school. Did you say you graduated high school in 96 or 97?
I graduated 96.
Yeah, I graduated in 95. Very that time like of being into the Cure was like very anti-Lowell, like all through like Wish promotion and stuff and like interviews and stuff. So like, it was so like just kind of ingrained in my like Cure fandom that he would just become the enemy at that point, and it was so weird. Because you had that respect still for the early stuff, but he was kind of the butt of every joke, and you kind of saw where they were coming from with the trial and everything, so it was hard to like for us to even like see like so
trial.
Yeah, I mean there was a trial, a literal trial, but I mean
there were two trials I've followed in my life, and one was O.J. Simpson and the other
very much around the same time. Trial of the century.
Oh my god.
But yeah, so it was tough. But I mean, I guess the book was good in the sense that it, I really enjoyed it just because it was like the first hand accounts for all the cool shit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was like you kind of got the side more of the personal friendship that you got glossed over in all those years of hatred as like an outside fan. I never really made the connection as a kid of like how awkward and awful that would have been, like him being such a childhood friend of Robert's, and having to go through all that. So I think it does
I'm gonna
really
sue you,
that.
Gavin. Goddamn, over the podcast. I'm gonna sue you over this someday.
Yeah,
keep it up.
I'll be like,
it'll be the third trial she covered.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's what I mean. It's awkward as hell, but.
That one took everything out of me. Sorry, guys. I've got no more left. I've got nothing left after that.
Yeah, that was a tough. Did he like talk at it or something, or what was he doing at the convention? Just kind of signing autographs and shit, or?
He got up on stage and kind of like did a bow and kind of like noticed that everyone was like, it was a very iffy crowd, and he said thank you, and I don't know, his mouth was moving, but I was not caring.
Yeah.
So I don't really remember much of what he said, but I can't imagine it was that much. And I think that afterwards, I don't know if that was the last Cure convention or what, but I never heard of another Cure convention again after that.
Yeah,
it was at the Palace.
Okay.
The only problem I had with the book was that it was really like the first part of the book was really good, and it was very clear, and then the last part of the book was very clear also. It's that middle part that like kind of matters, like about the existence of the Cure, that would seem like it. I mean, of course, because he was drunk most of the time, but it was just like it didn't exist, like it was just kind of a blur. And his recollection of it wasn't very on point, I guess. So that was the biggest issue I had with the book.
Why write a book if the most important part is
Like just like I don't know. People
The
said
part you
this
don't
was
remember?
cool. Yeah,
You know?
yeah. That was-
And
most,
it-
oh God. Okay. Well,
yeah.
that's enough to stay on. Have you talked about the videos yet? I'm like a newish listener, so
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, a
We
little
just got
bit.
talking. We just got done talking about the one with Lowell and blackface.
Oh, why can't I be you? Yeah.
That's exactly what I was gonna bring up. I was like, after, like, The Cure has never crossed the line for me
Uh-huh.
ever, you know, in the way that like everybody's like getting Morrissey crossed off of their arms now, and
Right,
like, I don't
right.
know, or Liberace, whoever the fuck, I don't know what these people are doing, but like The Cure, well, in public at least, The Cure has never done anything to make me dislike them, right?
Yeah.
You know, Robert's always been really progressive, super
Yeah.
liberal dude as far as we know, and then they did that, like, that blackface thing. I don't know whose stupid idea that was, but that was like the only time I've ever been like cringing about being a Cure fan is when someone brings that up, and I'm like, oh, dude, that was
the vibe.
That was a major screw up.
You get the vibe with every other character or whatever that they put Low in those videos, pretty much from like Love Cats up. He was always the one. Let's just see how far we can make look stupid in the video, and I bet $1 billion it was just like, let's put him in blackface, and it was just like, oh my god, he's actually like, whatever, cool, you know, and you know, just egged on with like, again, and there was a lot of that in the book where they just were super picking on him. Yeah, you know, and it's just like, and even they feel guilty about it in hindsight now and stuff, you know, but it's like,
put him in blackface.
but I mean, you know, if you look at everything he did in all the videos leading up to it, he was like, I don't know, dance around like an idiot. All right, why don't you put this cat thing on, you know, and it was just like, you could see where it would lead that way with a bunch of guys just being like, you know, how ridiculous can we make this video? And it's like, they'll never notice.
Right. They were probably really drunk, and I would like to blame Pope and just Lowell in general for just being an ass, but I don't know who to blame, so I'm just going to say, that was embarrassing.
Yeah. Not that it's defense, because I brought this up on a lot of things, and there's people that defend it and whatnot, but you got to, I mean, what year was that? 87?
Yeah.
About?
Yeah.
I mean, not that it was okay, but there was a Hollywood movie with this dude that like put blackface on just to go to a different school. I forget what the name of it was.
Totally, I remember
that.
That
Crazy.
C. Thomas Howell. What
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Soul Man.
Soul Man.
Yeah.
That was like, the word. Oh God.
Oh, it was a terrible movie, but I'm just like, I'm just saying that it was like, it was a little like, especially now, it's like completely unacceptable. But like back then, it wasn't seen.
Yeah.
People were like in the
taboo.
theaters, like, ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
So,
and then you got the prime minister of Canada that got caught doing that back in the 80s, and it's like it was
like a genie.
Yeah, and it was like it's not right, but I mean, I don't think it was purposely done to be offensive. But they were kind of tone deaf at the time, so I'm not excusing it because it's shitty, but you know, so.
Holy hours getting fucking crazy.
Yeah, I know. Let's talk about Brexit.
Jesus. Can we talk about any more like touchy? Thank you for calling in. Bring up more fucked up things.
Oh, I have so much.
Go.
Yeah, you gotta
go.
Let's go.
I need to get off my chest, but I'm not
the place to do it.
Get it.
No, I don't think so.
Thank you for calling in. Go.
Oh, hello.
Yeah. What about that track you had mentioned off of Wild Mood Swings while I was waiting to merge our call here?
Yeah.
I thought these guys would like to hear about that, but you have a all-time maybe hated song or just your least favorite Cure song?
Fuck yeah.
So I'm I love The Cure so much. We all do, and that's why we can talk shit about them because we know what they're capable of. You know, right?
Yeah.
So self-titled is the worst. Self-titled is the shit. It's. I mean, I don't know who. Robert, like, talk about questionable decisions. Playing with Korn, playing with 182. I'm sorry if you are fans, but there was like 10 years where I could not listen to them because Robert,
I got you.
Decisions were like, I can't deal with this anymore. And I wasn't a fan of Bloodflowers either, frankly.
Hell yeah.
But before that, Numb was my most hated. It still might be my most hated song ever.
That's funny because, you know, and I even stick up for Wild Mood Swings a lot more than most people, but like Numb was always the one song that I was just like, oh man, this song is just terrible. It was like that, like I was still just.
Well, what did you hate about it?
I hated that he was flat out saying drugs in it, you know, he's in love with the drug, and then that dun, 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 dun. It just was like, it just didn't feel like everything I love about The Cure, you know, and it was just like, and it was just cheesy, and it was like long and boring and didn't really fit with anything else on it. I was just like
most of their later songs.
Yeah, but this was the first kind of glimpse of that. It was weird because it was like with a lot of mood swings, even like the ones that people don't like 13th is like a lot of people don't like it, but it's still a kind of weird and kooky, cool Cure song, you know, like I love it, but it's like, but you know, and I get the argument against that, but it still feels like a weird Cure song. Like this one just like totally didn't feel like a Cure song to me, and the fact that he was just flat out saying drugs in it, you know, and like they've always just. It's always been super drug stuff, but never just flat out saying drugs in the lyrics and stuff.
Yeah.
That just kind of bugged me.
I was saying that, like, I heard that it's about Kurt Cobain.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that before.
Someone told me it was about that, and that made me, like, hate it all the more because I wasn't a Nirvana fan in high school, and then I heard this, and I was like, fuck this. And then, like, who put... You're like a genius songwriter, and the last line of your song is, and that makes me cry.
Yeah.
More eloquent way of maneuvering around. Like I hate that song.
Yeah.
I hate it. Okay.
And just because there's so many like decent and great B-sides for that too. It was just kind of the problem with Wild Mood Swings, where it was just like such a scrambled mess of like who was in charge of like orchestrating the, you know, because they're so notoriously great for that too, of like picking the theme and putting all the great, you know, songs that fit together. And it's like, I know that's part of the theme is that it isn't supposed to fit together, but at the same time, I was just like, how did that one make the fucking cut? And like, it's like songs like Ocean are like so good, you know? It's like, what the hell?
Exactly.
But yeah. It's good to hear somebody else share that opinion. Even when we talked about Wild Mood Swings, I wasn't quite sure if you guys felt as passionately on that one particular song. Are you down with it, Chaz? Are you?
I don't even fucking remember that song, so I probably don't even like it.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It's better. It's better.
So,
pretty memorable.
I don't remember our talk on it either. I know we did it. I just don't. I don't remember. I just remember the album being way over produced and just like it was just a mess.
Yeah.
But there were some songs that I did like on it, but overall, it was definitely like the start of the downfall, the slope downwards. So
yeah.
So when did you get into The Cure? Just a quick version of the backstory there, Sophia. Would you?
Oh yeah. So
Shut up.
So I was about 11. And I've got some older cousins, so they were listening to The Cure. I'm not sure what I was listening to at the time. Nothing interesting. Well, maybe. I was probably listening to a lot of Prince. I grew up Mexican American. I grew up listening to a lot of R&B, a lot of I don't know. My first concert was like Whitney Houston. So my first cassette was like In Excess Kick that I bought with my own money. So I turned 11. So what year was that? I don't know. It was just like right after the disintegration whole thing happened
Okay.
that I got into them. And my
Yeah.
first the first song I ever heard was The Walk, and I got them confused with the Cults.
Nice.
They
Yeah.
were the same thing to me at the time. And
And you were 11.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. Where'd you grow up? LA?
All over the place. No, I grew up in Tucson. At this time, I was probably living in Ohio, and I lived in New York City for 20 years, but now I live in Portland, Oregon.
Oh, it's dope.
My first tour was Wish. I wore what I wore to my graduation, which was like my first time like dressing how I wanted to. Really, the Cure like informed like everything about me. The books that I read, every time I read like an interview with Robert Smith, I would go out and get the books.
Yeah.
Reading.
I did that too.
I was listening to the bands that he was talking about, the poetry. I've got like a book of Catalyst poetry right over there. Like, just stuff that I would have never gotten into until I was much older, I think. And then I've seen The Cure only about 22 times. I know that's low for some Cure fans.
That's a good chunk.
Bragging.
You got me
bragging.
Oh no, I think that's pretty low from a lot of fans that I've heard. Like, I met Aaron from Coventry, England. You had him on like last time, I think.
Yeah.
He's a really sweet guy. I met him at one of the Hollywood Bowl shows.
Okay, cool.
But like everything in my life revolves around The Cure. Like it's crazy. Like my husband like asked me to marry him at a Cure show.
Oh wow.
Each other on like a really old Cure message board.
Oh.
Our marriage song was Breathe. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Nice.
So just huge fucking fan.
Jeez.
Awesome.
This is badass.
That's awesome.
Okay, so I have a question for you.
Okay.
And I put it in the whatever Instagram thing, but this is about the lyrics. So, and I've been going back and forth about this forever. So I'm thinking, he says, so I tricked myself like everybody else. Is it he's tricking himself like everybody else tricks themselves? Or is he tricking himself like everybody tricks him?
Ooh.
Yeah, remember this one had me stumped.
I think it's about everyone else like tricking him. Like, no, he's tricking himself.
Yeah, I think he's tricking himself.
You got to be defensive about that. Like, people fucking with you now?
Yeah. I mean, and I might disagree from what I said the last time, but I think I take it as like I trick myself as in like you lie to yourself to get by like everybody else does. This is how I take it. Or maybe that's
another brick in the wall kind of shit. Like...
Yeah.
Right. I don't know.
How do you see it?
That my husband and I that's what we fight about.
Yeah.
What do you think it's about?
Yeah, how do you...
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I've been mulling over several sets of questionable lyrics for years now. I have no idea. But
do you like lyrics in general?
Oh, yeah. Robert's genius, right? He's like, I don't know. There's like a few people who are like incredible storytellers, and I think one of them is like Elvis Costello, and then like one of them is Robert Smith, and I don't know, I can think of some other Tom Waits. I don't know, just some other people, but but his lyrics, I don't know, they get me. They get me in the feels.
Do you have a favorite? I mean, it's impossible.
Favorite Cure song?
Yeah, or just lyric wise, even.
This is where I lose everybody.
Oh yeah.
Because well, I'm like, I think my it changes all the time, like everybody. Like
Yeah.
it changes all the time. But my favorite Cure album for the last few years has been The Top.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, God.
I think Robert.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Look, the mixture of Robert Smith with LSD and slide whistles
Yeah.
it's choice.
It is a very shooting star moment for sure.
I defy you to disagree with
Right.
that. You're a genius. Yeah.
Got me at slide whistles. That's what's up.
Like Surgic and slide.
Bad Boy's got a bad boy on that one.
Smith's lyrics too. They're like super fucking sincere.
Yeah.
Like he does it when he wants to. He can be really acerbic or whatever, but like his lyrics were always just like bleeding heart sincere. And anybody can do irony. Like that's low hanging fruit, you know. But when you can be like a really sincere fucking person, like I respect that 100%. So
Fuck yeah. But yeah, fuck yeah, I agree with everything he says too.
All right, Brad. No, like it's really nice. No, I have to tell you, like it's incredible being able to talk to like Cure fans, like real Cure, not fair weather fans, but like fucking Cure fans who know what, you know, the albums going on, what they're talking about, like the ins and outs, ups and downs, whatever. And so thank you so much for letting me talk to you.
Yeah,
like,
thanks so much for being willing to call in. That's definitely the fun part of this whole podcast was like the idea of stretching it so like, no, we're gonna talk about the Cure for like hundreds of episodes. You know, like every friend that when I brought up the idea, there was like, so like a 10 episode kind of thing. It just I'm like, no, this is just gonna go on and on and on. We're gonna dive so deep into every little avenue and you know, good and bad.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's why it's fun to bash occasionally too, because it just really magnifies the love really.
I mean, it's true. Like if I didn't give a shit about what they did or what they were doing, why would I make such a fuss about how Numb is the shittiest song he's ever written?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Or why Self-Titled was Ross Robinson, screw you.
Yeah.
Well,
Ross Robinson.
This is just the opinion of one gal.
Yeah, you know, everyone varies, you know.
And the opinion of one gal.
Like we said when we did that episode for that album, it's like, you know, it's crazy how many people got into him from that album for whatever reason, you know, and it's worth its weight in gold just for that, I guess. If it, you know, gets you in the door, and then you realize like, oh wow, there's all these other way more amazing Cure albums out there, then that would be a pretty cool way to do it too, I guess, you know. So
yeah, you know, like any I guess any door that gets you in, I guess, is cool. No, yeah, it's true. Like awesome. If you've got good taste if you listen to the Cure.
Yeah.
For the most part. What am I saying? I don't really believe that. I don't really believe that, but for the most part, like all the fans I've met are pretty fucking stand-up people. So that's cool.
Right, yeah. Well, you seem pretty stand-up to me, so thanks so much for calling.
Well, thanks a lot, you guys.
Well, thank you.
So
once you're gone, they're just gonna make fun of me for a while.
Yeah, he gets back to bashing Donald.
I appreciate the break
I got
that you provided.
You bet. Let me know if I can. I was gonna say provide any other services. That came out totally wrong. Have a good night, you guys.
You
Bye.
too. Thanks so much. Bye bye. She's super cool. All right, here we go. Andy, I'm going to call him, all right? You talk amongst yourselves for a minute. Don't be talking shit when I come back.
Nope.
So Andy's driving, I think. Where you driving around, man?
I'm good. I'm driving for another 25 minutes, but don't worry, it's hands-free. I'm safe.
Where are you driving around? What you up to?
What road are you on?
I'm on the 605.
All right.
I knew it.
Fuck the 605. Fuck it. Jeez.
Cool. You having an all right day? Everything going okay out there?
Everything's great. Yeah, I had a busy day at work. Went to go see my daughter. Now probably even go catch a movie in a little bit.
Nice.
What are you gonna see?
Ad Astra with Brad Pitt. Something about the moon, space.
Yeah,
Could be new Cure album related, right?
I was gonna say that's just
I think that's the mission. He's actually going out there to see if he'll find it.
Yeah, there we go.
It hasn't been seen on Earth in 10 years, so it must be out there.
Cool. So yeah, we're just kind of throwing around some Cure topics, and anything on your plate lately you've been digging or not digging?
I mean, I just been watching a lot of the festivals still, recapping. I know you already had your festival episode.
Yeah.
And, but that Paris one, that was really nicely shot. Sometimes I don't know how they do these live in the moment, but you would think they were like for official release.
Yeah, exactly. It is pretty crazy. There's so many good ones out there now. It's like all these could be a DVD. Yeah. So during the other summer shows, you made it to a few of them, right? Or at least the Pasadena one.
Well, this year I did the Rock Hall with you guys.
Yeah.
I did Sydney, which I can't believe I really did that. I feel like that didn't happen. And then I did Pasadena, but that was like my backyard, obviously.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Well, that's not bad.
I'm spoiled, man. I just try to do as much as I can,
Totally. Cool. Well, before I was curious too, because I always see you going to these Cure tribute shows. I was wondering, so you've got some cool ones out there, it looks like. I've seen a few of those that definitely seem leaps and bounds better than the few Cure tributes that I've seen. So it's pretty cool. And I was always kind of torn on that. Like, wasn't sure. I was like, I don't know, should I get into this or not? And I wasn't really sure. I'd just see, what is it about the tributes that appeal to you? What do you think clicks with you?
I am a big tribute guy. Doesn't matter what it is. New music, old music, Cure. I've seen 7 Cure tributes, and I'm aware of many more, and I try to talk to them online, and hopefully one day I'll go see them. But I mean, I'll just drop some names. We got the Exploding Boys in Portland, Oregon. That actually just
it's a good name.
They just had their final show after 20 years.
Oh wow!
But, I'm glad that I finally caught them last April. I actually flew to Portland to see a cover band.
Oh wow!
They were great. They're good friends.
Yeah,
it's always great when they're fans. Like real fans. They're not just doing it for money or whatever.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, the one I caught out here was just so tough because I was all like, when they're trying to act like the band and stuff, and then it just gets too goofy. But it really is just
again?
In Asheville, North Carolina. I saw one. I think they were called The Cured, and it was
like a ham.
Yeah, it was good, and I really liked the guitarist a lot, but I didn't really like the singer, and I think it was just like, but it was just a matter for me, like I just hit the switch and was like, it's not about like, it comparing to Cure shows or, it's just like, just have fun with it, have some drinks and cut loose. And, it was definitely more of like the hitting that switch on myself other than seeing something in the band. You know what I mean? It was like, they were nailing it and it sounded great. Yeah. And I was like, just have fucking fun with it. And
it's more your bullshit.
Yeah. So I wondered if
it's the same one. If it's the same one I'm thinking about, they tour the country, so that's probably them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. They're not the better ones that I know, but they must be good. They must be good with the marketing or the business aspect of it because they tour the country, which is crazy.
Yeah, it must be that same one because I saw that they had like quite a few dates on that tour when they did that, and they'd covered a lot of territory, and it was good, but they were definitely catering to like the, let's all do the 80s dance, and and it got a little like wedding party-ish, where I was just like, what? I was like, and I saw like a few of the ones that you had been to where they're playing like deeper cuts and some, even rarities and shit that the Cure wouldn't normally play even, it was just like, oh my God, this is great. Like that one band that I think your buddy's with, like the guy had the jazz master with the fucking third pickup in his guitar and stuff, and I was just like, oh my God, this is awesome.
That's Brian Soto of The Curse. I've known that guy since I was 16. I'm about to be 31 in 2 weeks.
Awesome. Yeah, so you had a birthday coming up. Happy birthday in advance.
Thank you. I was born on 10/15, and it was a Saturday, but it was not at night.
Nice. It was meant to be.
Yeah, man. So no, it's been cool. Like, I mean, the cover bands and the tribute bands really they mean a lot to me because, you know, The Cure plays every 3-4 years or whatever it is, and you know, you're not going to get in for $5, $10, or even $3. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't really know of any out here that do it. So
yeah, it would be cool if they covered more territory. But
well, I don't like cover bands.
Yeah, well, you need to hit that switch that I was talking about.
Yeah,
it's tough,
switch,
you know.
Man.
The Curse, they play songs that The Cure never do, or have never played live, or not as often. And the guy that I know, I mean, he tries to get that sound down like crazy. He's perfectionist kind of. Awesome. But you know, not everybody's like that.
Yeah, that's cool. That definitely.
Freaking Chaz, I know you're in Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah.
You got Strange Attraction out there. Have you heard of them?
No.
Dude, I mean, I don't even live near you, and I know about them.
Where they based?
That's crazy, though.
Or what?
They're on Instagram, I believe. Strange Attraction.
And
they're out of Pittsburgh, I think. I'm not saying it's closer thing to you, but it's closer to me, to you than me.
Yeah. It's on the other side of the state, but still.
It's a good band name, though.
Yeah. If they ever came out this way, I'd probably go check them out.
There's a La Cure in Dallas. I started talking to Primary in Chicago because work sends me out there sometimes. I mean, anywhere there might be a Cure tribute, I try to hit them up because on top of that, they're Cure fans.
Right on. Yeah, they're probably.
Yeah, I like that name.
Yeah.
The Primary one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good name.
Dude, and every time I fly out for work, it's always during the week, so there's never a gig. So I hit them up and I'm like, "Yo, have you got rehearsal or something? I'm down to pound a few beers and chill,
just hang out, play some funky Cure songs." Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll bring a pack of beers, whatever, man.
I think it's rad that, like you said, that one band travels all around the country, that you can make like some sort of living where you're able to tour, like and not like and be a cover band. That's crazy to me.
Yeah,
it's weird, man.
I mean, it's not. I don't really see it weird. I just see it that it's like you have to be good to be able to do something like that. Like I don't know. You're not like a wedding band kind of thing. You're like legit.
But we're probably going to move on to see if we could squeeze in one more before we wrap up tonight. But I wanted to end with a fitting ending there. So are you back on safe roads? You didn't go off a canyon or anything, did you? You there? No. Oop, he's gone.
Or he's just really mad at Donald.
All right, so we lost Andy there, but we got time for one more caller. Let's give our buddy Kelly out in Memphis a call. See what he's up to. Oh, wait, my phone's making the cool dialing noises. I wonder if it's recording that. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I hear the beep.
Hello.
Hey, Kelly. This is Gavin.
Hello. How you doing?
Pretty good. How you doing?
It's hot as fuck here in Tennessee, and
hell yeah,
still hot.
Tomorrow is October, and I still can't wear my brand new long sleeve Disintegration T-shirt that Bella bought me, and it's too freaking hot outside, so
I got mine sitting on the dresser too. I'm like, come on, what the fuck? It's October. I should be able to wear this long sleeve T-shirt.
Yeah, I was able to wear mine for a morning.
It's so hot, and we're all gonna die.
I don't care about that. I want to wear my damn Disintegration T-shirt.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that,
Doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, we've been hashing it out here with some mystery callers. We've had Andy out in California, Sophia, we're up in Oregon, right? Portland.
Oregon.
Yeah. So
Sophia's dope.
we're covering some territory. So you're out in Tennessee, right? Memphis.
We need to get some Euro trash on here.
Yeah.
Like a French Cure fan or something.
Yeah. Sounds good.
That's a good one. Or from
Or French Canadian. French Canadian.
There you go.
Cut the difference. Like,
Start out soft and then we'll go. What's been on your Cure radar lately? Anything in particular?
Oh, I'll just be waiting for the new record.
Yeah.
I've been I've been listening to live at Paris because I got it on cassette. I found it at a store here in Nashville, and there were 2 copies still sealed.
Yo.
And so I bought both of them, and I took one to work. So I've been playing the one tape at work a lot, and
nice.
And
you have
like
a
that
tape
one.
deck at work?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, I know. Everyone thinks I'm weird, but they look at the big stack of cassettes and they see the cassette player and they're like, "What's that?" I'm like, well, it's called a relic from an ancient age. That's what it
My
is.
fucking cassette deck. That's what's up. Fuck
Yeah,
man.
I mean, so I've been doing Paris a lot lately, but I've just been waiting patiently for the new one, and I'm sure I'll throw down the $85 or whatever it's going to cost to buy the new DVD.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to ask anyone yet. Are you guys or anybody out there? So we're down to the next couple weeks. So we got the anniversary movie that was in the theaters that Chaz and I saw. Did you see that, Kelly, in the theater?
No, I did not see it because the one day that it was playing here, it was on just a bad night.
Yeah.
There was just with the kids and I went to see I think Sebado, like I had that show coming up.
Yes.
Nice.
And I couldn't and I had to pick, and I was like, well, I could either go see the Cure movie or I could just not go see Sebado the day after, 2 days later. But so I went to see Sebado.
What's your favorite Sebado record? What's your favorite?
Probably Bake Sale.
Oh, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a hard one to. That's a hard question because I like them all.
That new one's pretty rad.
Yeah, you're my boy, man. Do you like Dinosaur Jr. and stuff?
Actually, I had dinner with 2/3 of them last year, so yes. I have the photo to prove it. Yeah. Lou was here for a solo thing, and they were doing this thing called Dine-O-Saur.
Nice.
And they sold one ticket. It was one ticket. You could buy a ticket to have dinner with them, and it was just me and Murph and Lou.
Wow.
And then this guy Willie, who was a friend of Lou's, showed up. And
do you mind if Willie joins us? Like, sure.
It turns out I knew Willie. That was even weirder.
Wow.
So we knew each other.
Awesome.
And so that was a fun build evening. Because they want to know more about you.
Yeah.
you know.
You're like, why are you asking about me? Like, you're just rad.
I was like, my life's not interesting. Like my life is just. Dinosaurs coming in November, and I'm really psyched about that too. So.
Cool.
Yeah.
Actually, here's another funny thing. Actually, I was listening to Jay Massis on a podcast recently, and he said that the Cure Dinosaur opened for the Cure in like 1991, 92, and they did like one show with them in Los Angeles. And Jay said they only got like 30 minutes exactly, and he was just writing down what songs they were going to play. And Robert Smith said, "You should play Just Like Heaven. I hear it's a good crowd pleaser."
Nice.
I love that Dinosaur Jr. still plays that Deep Wound song that they cover. I know the last 2 times I saw them, they did.
It's called. Oh yeah, I forget the name of it. Yeah, they still do that one occasionally. Yeah.
Did you catch if they played Just Like Heaven, or did they not do it?
They've done it every time I've seen them.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be great if they could tour with them again, or even like just some of these weird festival things.
That would slap, dude. That would be the best tour.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
And I really wanted to go to the LA thing, even though that was never going to happen because Throwing Muses was playing.
Yeah.
And you don't get to see that often, you know.
Yeah.
Like Kristen Hirsch very rarely do that anymore. And I thought, like, well, what better way to do that again than to open for the Cure, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been cool. That was definitely.
That heat would be killer, though. Like, that's the one thing that went through my mind. Like, I don't know if I'd be able to enjoy any of that just because of the 95-degree heat.
Yeah, I would have been melting.
Yeah.
I like festivals, but, I also like shade.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like not
festivals are whack, man.
So you think you mentioned the new album? Are you pretty? I feel like as much as we're all kind of like, oh, come on, is this fucking thing gonna drag out for another like whatever? Or do you think like? I mean, it seems it's definitely in the bag and gonna happen, right? I mean, we're all like, we got that right.
So. Well, you know how I think it's funny because he recently said, "Oh, I just have to go and fix a few things and we'll be done." And I was like, well, dude, you said that like 6 months ago.
Yeah, I know.
But
it's so scary
I realized
with
that
him.
today you can make an album the same way they make movies.
Yeah.
Like they work on big Hollywood pictures. They are working on them until the very last.
Yeah,
possible.
that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah. Because like for example, Star Wars, when it comes out in December. It comes out on December 20th, right? Well, they pretty much have until December the 18th to finish the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Then they just send it instead of being like...
everything's digital now. That you don't have to send
and I really think that's the case with the Cure record. They're probably just going to make it available before it actually like physically comes out.
Yeah. And I'm assuming and that was kind of like we were definitely going to do like a pre-album thing, but we were even debating that. Should we do that episode? But we're like, well, let's wait and see if there's like a release date and get a little more facts before we start hashing out our predictions.
There's no telling
and
what's
whatever.
Going to be on it either.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. But I mean, that idea of like him saying I still have to record some vocals, well then me like musician side is like, well then you still gotta fucking mix it and you gotta master it and you gotta like fucking find I don't even know if they're on a label at this point. Like it sounds like they're not on Geffen anymore from a few things I put together. So I mean that's like a lot of like, even if they are, I'm sure they're not going to just put it on Bandcamp or something. Like, here it is.
That would be great, actually.
Yeah, that would be so cool if they did just fucking crank it out.
Yeah.
But, like...
I could see them just dropping it, like, on midnight, like, one night on iTunes. And
that would be so awesome.
You just got it, nobody even knows it's out.
Yeah.
And, like, you just, like, it just worked.
My Bloody Valentine did that.
Like,
you don't need a label anymore.
No, that's what I'm hoping they would be. But they're still old school enough where I feel like they would be like, oh, we still got to distribute it. I mean, I can't believe they put up with all that bullshit from about 2004 up, like, they should have just been doing that since like Bloodflowers, really. But at the same time,
sharp motherfuckers.
Yeah,
that's how you navigate that, man.
What's funny about Bloodflowers is that I didn't even know it was coming out until I saw them on, I believe it was Mad TV.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. It was like a week or two before the record came out. They were on Mad TV.
Yeah, I remember that one being
on Mad TV, and they hold up this CD and like playing the new single from their album Bloodflowers, and I was really confused. I was like, since when do they have a new record? It was to me that one just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
I found it on YouTube. They played. Maybe Sunday on Mad TV.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm about to watch that later.
Is there anything in particular you're concerned about with the new record or hoped for, even unrealistic hopes for the new album?
I don't really have any like. I mean, okay, so I look at there's a lot of bands in this world, but I think there's a handful that I put in the I'll go ahead and say this, the Star Wars category.
Right.
And the Star Wars category for me is I don't care if it's a Jawa beating off for 2 hours. I'm gonna love it because it's Star Wars.
You got me hard right
Amen.
now.
Like,
I'm gonna love
so the way I see it is that like The Cure, it could be like if Prince made a record of just him like having moaning and doing orgasm noises, I'm gonna think it's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
So if Robert Smith made a record of just him strumming one chord and crying, I'm gonna think it's like amazing. So it's one of those things where it's like I don't have any hopes because I know I'm gonna like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna make myself fucking like it, whether it's good or not.
You know? Like I really think that like when you really like a band a lot, you just go with it.
Yeah.
And try to, there aren't very many.
Enjoy it?
Yeah, because there aren't very many bands in this world that I've been able to follow from start to finish. And like The Cure is kind of one of those things that's sort of like, they come to you at a certain point and there hasn't been any disappointments. So to me, it's sort of like, go ahead, try to disappoint me because I don't think you can.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they really come to Nashville because Reeves lives in Nashville, and I'm like,
right.
You guys have the second largest music festival in the country in my backyard, in your backyard, and The Cure won't fucking play Bonnaroo, and I'm like,
it's a bit surprising that wasn't part of the package there this summer.
I'm really hoping that that's a 2020 thing.
Hopefully they won't do the festivals. I'm kind of like
hardcore.
It'd be cool if they do.
Yeah,
do you guys have like any kind of like pavilions, or I'm sure you got something out there that's like a did they play there in 2016?
Yes, we do, actually. Yeah, we have some we got your large size arena venues, and we got your smaller
lawn.
Yeah.
Size. Yeah, we have this thing called like the Ascend Amphitheater. It's got your seats and your lawn seats, and it's I saw Nine Inch Nails there last year, and it was awesome. So
laying in some grass.
Yeah, I mean, you can smoke some grass while you're in the grass. The lunatic is on the grass.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But I mean, they have to. I mean, as much as I would even like I heard a bootleg of that Play Out show that we referenced earlier from remember the thing from like pre-Wish where they're playing the small show and they were trying out like a few songs and there was like a full bootleg.
Oh yeah,
of that.
Yeah, the VHS.
Yeah, and it was funny because I'd seen Play Out a billion times, of course, but I hadn't really heard like just a full-on bootleg of that whole show, and it was really cool because there was like he was literally telling people to back up and stuff, and it was just impossible. It sounded like it was a mess as far as like cramming people in there, and I mean they just can't fucking physically play anything that isn't a pavilion as much as we all love them and think that it's like our band, and why don't they just do 6 nights at the whatever club, and they have to play a fucking arena and a pavilion at this point. So it's like I think that's the better scenario.
The 2016 tour, they were from what I remember, they were shocked at how fast the tickets sold for the first Madison Square Garden show because I think that was the first US date that was announced.
Yeah.
So it sold out so fast that they were blown away that they could still sell out.
When was that?
In 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah, they couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe that they sold out so fast. So they added another night, and then the next night sold out just about as fast as the first one. And they were just like, "Oh my god!" So then they did another night after that.
Yeah.
Boy, part of me, I'm worried that like 2020 they're going to come over and do like the major festivals, and we won't get like a normal seated show.
No one wants to go to festivals.
That would bum me out so much.
Gross.
No, they gotta be exhausted.
I'll go to
from
Bonnaroo
that.
because I love going to Bonnaroo, but that's like the only one I can do.
Yeah.
The bad boy only goes to Burning Man.
Cure at Burning Man.
Yeah, I get a sight.
Every night's Burning Man with Donald.
Every night's Burning Man. Yeah, we're gonna burn one, B. I can hear Robert Smith singing to me in my head, man.
But yeah, I mean, I would think that the odds are definitely in our favor of it being. It'd almost be annoying in the sense that they don't just crank out a bunch of arena shows, like even in like February and March of next year. But I could see it pushing back to like springtime where they do like the pavilions.
If they're going to do a tour here at the beginning of the year, that they need to be selling tickets now.
Yeah, it is getting a little tight. Yeah, that's what it is. All of it's getting tight. So, yeah.
You know, and that's why I just
cool.
like.
I mean, even if they do summer pavilions and shit again, like they did for 2016, and you know, like it would be pretty much what they did in 2016. If they did that again, that would be awesome. I think they could.
But so that needs to be announced by like December.
Yeah.
If they're going to do that. So
yeah,
summer shows need to be announced by the winter.
Yeah.
Like,
so
yeah, I kind of felt like
oh
the last one.
I know what I'm doing a year from today.
Right.
Not
totally. So.
You know, but you know what I know about concert promotion, the few things that I did learn in college is that a lot of times, when I found out that The Cure was doing another record, I kept thinking, okay, that's why they're not playing in the U.S. Yeah. A lot of times in the U.S., the promoters in the United States want you to be touring behind something.
Yeah.
Especially if you're doing a larger tour. And when Robert publicly said, I have no interest in touring America and playing Disintegration every night.
Yeah.
I kept thinking, okay, well then they're not coming until the new record's out.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, that makes sense to me, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Like, promoters are probably throwing money at them to come play Disintegration, and if EC says no,
right,
I don't want to do that every night, then that means, okay, what are you going to do then?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Ballsy.
Well, that's what, I mean, I feel like they tapped enough festivals, you know, where it's like, okay, that was that thing, and then the next thing should logically, you know, you never know with The Cure, but like logically it should be like another album tour. If you know, it seems like that would be.
But, you know, if they do come here, they need to play Burn.
Yeah,
because
I think that's
a staple that they've been doing that over there, and
you're not hearing that Burning Man.
But yeah, I think that's a pretty regular. That would actually be like, I don't have too many like on deck questions if I could talk to Robert Smith moments. But it is amazing that how that song has come back and like been such a favorite for everybody. You know, like it's just like, why the fuck has that not been in the set list since it was recorded? It's so crazy, but
didn't they play that every night on the 2016 tour?
Yeah, I think it was like
almost every night. Yeah.
And I think all the festivals, even it's still in there.
Yeah,
like
I think so.
So yeah,
you know,
I agree.
I was in a Cure tribute band.
What's the
difference
between a tribute and a cover?
A tribute band, like we all dressed up and did our hair and makeup, and you know, it was all Cure tunes, and we did 5 shows, and the last one was my wedding, and you know, that was it. Like it was
awesome.
But like a cover band would just be a bunch of dudes
playing all kinds of shit from whenever,
playing and hoping they remember the song. But a tribute band tries to be just as good as the band.
Like you're nailing it, and more focused.
You got to nail every part.
You're not just like.
Got to be. Some of these people, if that's their Saturday night, and they're never gonna like you're gonna. They're probably so high they think you really are the Cure. So
yeah, isn't that the ideal goal? Is if you get like just enough drinks in you and you squint your eyes.
What was the name of your tribute band?
Yeah,
it was called the Love Cats.
Nice.
Okay.
I had a one night only tribute where we did it for a show and we played. We were Mr. Pink Eyes. That was something I really want to reinvestigate. I was gonna ask Don to play drums, but I guess he clearly isn't gonna partake in such a thing. But yeah, we played a benefit thing.
We did this. We originally did it for. It was like a fundraiser. Like
that's what we did. It was like a one night only kind of thing. But
and then we got invited to do another similar event, like a few months, 6 months later.
Cool.
And we did. We're like, yeah, sure, we'll do it. And then I think another year had passed, before we did the third and fourth shows, which were very very close to each other.
Yeah.
And they were under the same circumstances. It was like somebody was doing like a rock camp fundraiser or whatever, and and we were all in different bands and doing different things at the time, and it's like, can you make time to learn the songs again and then do the other ones, do some different ones at the same time, and I was really lucky that all of that worked out the way it did.
Yeah.
And then we played at my wedding.
Nice.
We literally, there was another band. It was a band that there was a band at our wedding, and a friend was just like, "Hey, you guys should get up there and just take over and
just do it."
I'm looking around and I'm like, okay, all four of the Love Cats are here now. We were missing a member from my normal band, but I thought, okay, all four of the Love Cats here. Let's do that, and so that's what we did.
Nice.
Love Cats is gnarly too.
It's a good song too.
Right.
We didn't play it though, so that was even funnier. People are like, yeah, Love Cats. Like, no, we don't know that one.
But do you sing and play guitar, or what instrument are you on? Sorry, what was your band name?
It was called Kelly Kerr and the Distraction.
Okay, cool.
Kind of like an Elvis Costello.
Yeah. Do you still have some stuff out there online, or?
Yeah, actually, yeah. There's a Bandcamp page with both the records that we made.
Nice.
One of them is history themed, so
Okay.
all the songs are about historical stuff.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, and I guess you write what you know about, I suppose.
Yeah. That's cool.
That's what Thurston Moore told me. He was I gave him a copy of the CD, and he goes, "Oh, history. I guess you write what you know about, huh?"
That's pretty heavy though, man. I like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, but yeah, like that was like that kind of. We never actually broke up. It was still together, but
cool.
Somebody moved away. Another guy got an awesome job, and life happened, and one of these days, we were a band for many years, so it wasn't like it wasn't like it ended terribly or anything like that. So,
fuck yeah.
Cool.
It's funny though. It's like I've met people over the years that don't like the Wish album.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they say like, oh, that's like because it's too commercial.
Right.
Oh, that's the commercial album. Oh, that one has all the hits on it. And I always counter that argument with, well, what about the ones that came before that, or the ones that came after that? Those have hits on them too.
Yeah.
Why is that the one that got singled out? Because it sold the most, like.
Yeah. I think it was just it's an easy target.
My wife, she's a few years older than me, and she tries to remind me, you have no idea, you couldn't go anywhere without hearing any of the songs on Wish. Like it was just that big at the time.
Yeah.
And and she loves that album. She actually stole it from me. It's in her car. I'll probably never get it back. But that's besides the point. But I still think it's funny how like that's considered the quote unquote commercial album.
Yeah, it is very odd.
When I feel like there were bigger hits on the ones prior to that.
Right.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just because of Friday I'm in Love in particular, and and just because in music in general was like alternative was cool finally at that point. Like it wasn't during Disintegration, and it's
a
like,
weird period.
Yeah, it was like everything had broken big where it was like obscure bands were cool and everyone was acting like The Cure was like they were just discovering them for the first time, and it was like, so it was like everybody, you had like all kinds of people like buying the Wish that were like, oh, I'm buying this alternative album or whatever, it was just like
getting co-opted.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like nothing to do with the record or the band, it was like them just finally fucking, their only thing was that they were trying to do a cool spin on the success of Disintegration. They couldn't do Disintegration Part 2.
See, I always kind of thought Wish was made more for the American market. I always felt
well, they had the success and everything from Disintegration. So, well, why wouldn't you capitalize on that a bit? I mean, technically, that's what they were wanting them to do after Kiss Me, was put out Wish, So, I mean, it makes sense, but they couldn't. It would have been more trite to put out like a super sad second album after Disintegration, like this one's even more depressing or whatever, and it's like, so they were just kind of trying to do Kiss Me 2.0, really, if anything, was like to a fault. But I mean,
they could have put out Vaporization instead of Disintegration.
Yeah.
Wouldn't a more depressing album been more successful at that point in time?
Definitely.
Dude.
Like with
Definitely.
The grunge explosion and everything.
Maybe, it depends on how they did it. If they put out like Blood Flowers, probably not. But like if they had done
I've maintained over the years, that the Cure's presence in the '80s gave way for some of that melancholy that that occurred in the '90s with a lot of those bands.
Yeah.
Because if you look back, and it's funny when you look back, a lot of those big groups in the early '90s will all say that they all cite the Cure as an influence, whether it be musically or lyrically or whatever.
Yeah.
They all do.
Reznor inducted him into the Hall of Fame, and he's pretty much the poster boy of that mindset.
Yeah.
I think it made Moody cool. 90s. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Sure. But it's just like, I just think it's funny. And that's why like if they're going for this new record is going to be, if it's as somber and as dark and as gray as it's already been boasted, then I say more power to you and bring it on, because I don't think you can get any darker than like Pornography or Disintegration or
Yeah.
I mean, hell, the last song on 413 Dream, I think it's called Over Now.
Yeah, it's over.
I mean, that could have been on Pornography. They haven't rocked that hard in ages.
Yeah.
And so like when he says heavy.
Yeah, you wonder.
I really think like it's going to be very, very emotionally taxing, in that way. Like, I really think it's time to do that again.
Yeah.
And this will be the first record with Reeves on guitar.
Yeah.
And that man can do some amazing shit.
Yeah.
And whether he's playing just straight up lead guitar, or if he's doing these like vast, big, like soundscapey shit, the guy can do. I mean, I guess when you're Bowie's right hand man for several years, I mean, you kind of have to be like that. But I feel like that him being there is definitely going to make things extremely palatable.
Yeah.
Because the last one was just was just the four of them.
Mm-hmm.
You had Robert and Paul doing all the guitars, and it was done a little bit at a time, very piecemeal. But it sounds like they actually made a plan on this one, to go and actually be together for a period of time and actually make a record as a band, as opposed to just piece by piece, and as much as I like Coral, and I think he's amazing in anything that he's involved in, and anything that he does. It will be really interesting just to not hear him on this one and see what is the difference. What is the difference between these two guys?
Right. Yeah, that'll add its whole extra layer and strange dynamic and awesome, hopefully. But
now you got me all excited. Like I'm going into this without really any expectations, because I don't want to do that to myself. So I'm just expecting a lot of noise, and just just judging by what he's said. I mean, if you can take any of that, and like what music he was being inspired by at the time and bands he was listening to, I'm just like, this could be amazing, but it also at the same point, I'm just like, it could be terrible.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm trying to go into it without any real expectation.
That's why they're taking their time on it. And
maybe.
Yeah.
Was it like the Star Wars thing? It's sort of like you mess with the formula, people get pissed.
Right.
And it's like, see, I loved Wild Mood Swings when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, 15
excited
at the time.
Yeah.
I was like 15 at the time. But looking back, I can see why people didn't like it, because it's one of those where it's like, oh, they messed with the formula. They tried to do all the weird, funky shit in one record. They try to take you to a million different places in one record, and no one really likes that. They would much rather you do it just twice and then be done with it. Some really good ones on there, but I can see why. Really I can see why. I could see why at the time there was a separation.
Yeah. And you had like the fact that it was a lot of the band wasn't the band anymore. I mean, there was so many like scapegoats of why not to like them.
I mean, that's what happens when Poral's on the band.
Yeah, or no Boris, especially with that one, because everybody was like,
what happens.
Yeah, they're like different drummer, different guitarist, blah blah blah. It's been 4 years, and that was. But that's what I mean. That's kind of like one of the things I'm getting excited about reading like those interviews and stuff for the new album, where it was like, if nothing else, there seems to be a very clear focus on this one, like whatever the fuck he's going for. And I feel like he always does better with that. Like, even if I wasn't as crazy about Blood Flowers, in hindsight, I love Blood Flowers more because that had a focus, and that's like better than like the self-titled album or something, what I mean? It's like, I don't like the focus just being, we're going to rock harder or something, it's like, there's something that's fucking anchoring this new album that we don't even know yet. He's hinted at things, but it's like, I like it already. Just getting that vibe of like, all right, there's something that he's really fucking honing in on, and hopefully that'll be the saving grace. But who knows? But maybe on that note, we should wrap. Thanks so much for hanging in there with us, Kelly. And always
Thanks
great talking to you and having you back. And
blast you.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, you guys are great. Yeah, I love listening. I love listening. It ges me through like long stretches of the day.
Awesome. That's what we hope for. Always. It
really does it. So. Can I tell you something before we go?
Yeah. What's up?
Okay. So I didn't get a chance to record a response for the Charlotte Sometimes.
Whoa.
And so I wanted to just go ahead and just tell you this.
Okay.
So the song Charlotte Sometimes is one of my favorite songs. And it's one of my favorite songs to the point where I named one of my children after that song.
You call her Sometimes?
Bella does, but so I named my daughter Charlotte after that song, and
awesome.
at the time, because my wife was going to allow me to name both my kids, and so my son's name is Ian. You can take a guess who he's named after. But Charlotte. See, at first, my wife was like, "Oh, that's a beautiful name," and then we were like listening to something in the car, and like song came out on the shuffle, and she goes, "Oh, okay, now I know why you want to call her Charlotte." And then she tried to like counter offer me and said, "Can't we just name her Elise? Name her after that
song." Elise is tight though.
Yeah, it's a good name.
But I won. I wouldn't say I won, but I won out because. And then Prince, what's his name, William or Harry, whatever the fuck, which one got married at the time. They named their first daughter Charlotte, but I like to think that they stole it from me.
Yeah, totally. Or he's just a diehard Cure fan too, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
He probably likes the Smiths.
Yeah.
The Queen is dead. Oh, thank you. All right, anyway, so that's my response.
Well, that is wonderful. It's a beautiful name, and yeah.
Anywho,
dope, man. I'm glad you called in, man.
Well, thank you.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Yeah,
You're a
well,
blast.
hopefully talk to you soon, man. And Hope all is well out there. Good night.
All right, you good.
All right, a huge, gigantic thank you to Kelly, Andy, and Sophia, our mystery callers of this episode. Well, I've been familiar with you guys on social media and from past episodes, and Andy from in person, but it really, you don't know what you're getting with these things, so I'm glad that it worked out, and you guys are even cooler than awesome, and I really appreciate you being willing to partake in this experiment with us and share your Kira thoughts and time and conversation, and really had a blast. And you guys out there too that reached out on social media, thanks so much. Even if we didn't get to you, apologies, and don't give up. Let's try this again soon, and hopefully we'll get even more of you guys in there. Maybe we'll start trying to harness it in so we can get as many as possible, but we really do kind of just like to let it cut loose and see where it goes. So thanks for hanging in there, and thanks for reaching out if we didn't get to you. Apologies, and hopefully catch you next time. But we're gonna wrap up for this episode. We got lots on the horizon as always, so be sure to subscribe on iTunes and on YouTube and Spotify, all that. We're out there. Find us and follow us on Instagram at the Holy Hour Podcast, and the Facebook page, of course, the Holy Hour Podcast on Facebook page, where you can get extra little tidbits for this episode and others, such as a link to Kelly's music and some links to the Cursed Andy's Friends cover tribute. Almost got me. Tribute Cure band, and heaps more that I'll think of. We'll put in there, and you can comment on that thread or just directly contact me at gavinconnor@gmail.com. I'd love to hear your thoughts, suggestions, contributions, complaints, all of it. You can send it there to gavinconnor@gmail.com. And on top of that, 17secondshirts.bigcartel.com is where you're going to find all these cool shirts that Chaz is responsible for, that all these callers were referencing here and there about how amazing they are. Go check them out. You can also follow his Instagram at 17_seconds to get the latest scoop of when they go on for pre-sale. So you pre-order them, then you get them, okay? So you got to be on the ball. You got to keep your eyes peeled. So don't want to miss out on the next round. And yeah, until next time, again, thank you, Sophia, Andy, Kelly, Donald, Chaz. You're all golden gods in my eyes. Thanks so much. Go put on some Cure and talk hard. Challenge.